Hi there, this is Dr. Rick Davids, osteopath and functional medicine practitioner from the Health Formula. So in this video, I'm going to just run through a sample report of a test run by a company called OmegaQuant, and this is called the Omega-3 Index Plus. So it provides a few little insights into the fatty acid status of the body. And in particular, we're looking at two fatty acids called EPA, or eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, or docosahexaenoic acid. A bit of a tongue twister for those, hence the abbreviations. And these are essentially long-chain fatty acids of the omega-3 class that are found in oily fish, krill oil, fish oil supplements, and algae oil. Now, these are really important fatty acids that we measure their presence in the red blood cell membrane, and it scores an index. And essentially, you want the index to be between 8 and 12%, which is desirable, and anything below that is considered to be suboptimal and undesirable. And what's interesting is that the research has shown that if you have a lower omega-3 index, you're at increased chance of cardiovascular disease and cardiometabolic problems, cognitive decline, mental health issues, and generally sort of inflammatory tendencies, particularly around joint health as well. Now, the impact this can have on the body is pretty far-reaching, and certainly you want to make sure that the omega-3 index is optimized. And the way we tend to do that is by emphasizing omega-3 fatty acids consumption in the diet, such as consuming more oily fish, and or taking fish oil supplements. But you can also get EPA and DHA from algae oil if you are on a plant-based diet, for example. So on this report, you can see that the index in this example is 6.08%, so certainly suboptimal, and this would warrant increasing the omega-3 fatty acid intake from the diet. The other feature of this test, if you scroll down to page 2 here, is that we have another a couple of little ratios of interest here. We've got what's called the omega-6 to the omega-3 ratio, and the omega-3s include the DHA, the EPA, but you've also got what's called omega-6, which is other essential fatty acids, which tend to have more of a pro-inflammatory effect, whereas the omega-3s tend to have more of an anti-inflammatory effect. There's a few caveats and nuances to that, and it's not entirely as simple, but essentially you want to make sure that the ratio is desirable. And what we're looking for is a ratio of 3:1 to 5:1 would be considered desirable. And if the ratio is abnormal or a little off, this generally means that we need to increase the omega-3 content of the diet to help balance out the omega-6. There's also a fatty acid called arachidonic acid, which is associated with inflammatory tendencies, and the omega-3 EPA. And the ratio that's desired is between 2.5:1 and 11:1. So if this measures out, generally, again, we require just optimizing omega-3 intake. And the last little feature of this test is called the trans fat index report. And you may remember that trans fats got a lot of bad rap for their association with cardiovascular disease and so on. And we've done a good job of trying to remove these from the food chain, although you do see them crop up in certain foods. Back in the day, we used to believe margarine and liquid vegetable oils were healthy, but we've come around to understand that that's not the case. And we want this index to be below 1%. So if you do a test and you're above 1%, you certainly want to be looking at your diet and trying to remove sources of trans fatty acids. So that's the omega-3 Index Plus, quite an interesting test that I use to help modify diet and kind of guide supplementation recommendations. And it's particularly useful for people with any sort of cardiovascular or metabolic issue, cognitive complaint, or inflammatory disorder. So I hope you found that interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. That's it from me. Bye for now.